Before we get started, I want to let you guys know that, yeah, I'm changing the format a little bit for how I'm doing the History of Fox Kids. So instead of reviewing 8 different shows once every month, I'm going to review one show once every week. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I came upon the realization last month that I missed out on doing a Halloween episode of the History of Fox Kids. And that was right after I released part 3. And really, if I was going to do a Halloween episode of the History of Fox Kids, it would have actually replaced part 3. And I know a lot of people would be upset about that because part 3 had a lot of fan favorites. So with that said, let's start the History of Fox Kids Part 4.
Hey, now tell me what's the commotion?
It's a hot party that rocks.
You got to come see all the excitement.
Everything is happening on Fox. Each new day's another adventure. Heroes, mutants, and hot shots. We are always ready for action. Everything is happening on Fox. Fox Kids. Fox Kids. Fox Kids.
Fox Kids. We've got lots and lots of surprises.
We got fun that never stops.
You'll find the craziest tools you can ask for.
Everything is happening on Fox. Come join us for all the excitement, thrills, and fun. Yeah, we're the top. Now you know the place to be right here. Everything is happening on Fox. Fox Kids. Fox Kids, you mean?
Fox Kids.
Fox Kids. On Fox Kids.
Do you know which comic book superhero has the most TV series? Batman, right? With 16 different series, it's not surprising. Well, if you combine the 7 Super Friends series, both the original run of Batman the Animated Series with Gotham Knights, and both Justice League series, you end up with 8 different series. So who would have more series than Batman? Spiderman, that's who. Spiderman has a whopping 11 different series. You have 60s Spider-Man, educational Spider-Man, live action, Sentai, 1980s, In Another Dimension, movie tie-in, spectacular, ultimate, unknown title. And of course, the one I'm talking about today, the 1995 animated series. You see, Spidey was part of a much bigger plan that Margaret had to release more and more Marvel superhero series, starting with X-Men. Then you had Spider-Man, Silver Surfer, Daredevil, Avengers, and a few more. But plans change. We'll get to that later. Now, let's talk about our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. The series lasted for 4 years with 65 episodes. It was developed by Marvel Films Animation. It was a blend of 2D animation mixed in with computer animation. So let's get this over with. I'm not going to criticize the computer animation all that much since it still was a relatively new art form for television. But Disney's been doing it for years, in movies and a bigger budget. First, it's amazing how the series creator worked around the limitations Fox gave this series.
Unfortunately, what's happened down the line is that now Spider-Man has gotten this reputation for having been overly censored. It really wasn't. It wasn't censored any more than any other show on the network or on any network for kids at that time. Usually what people say is, yeah, but Batman the Animated Series did all this stuff and got away with all this stuff. You have to kind of look at the time frame, because what happened was the first real action-adventure show of that whole new wave, it all started with Batman. I think what happened was that because they were first, they really kind of got away with a lot more. A lot of the ground rules, sort of broadcast standards and practices ground rules, hadn't quite been established yet. 2 things happened. So the first is that they were the first, and so they kind of got lucky there. The second is that was the appearance of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. What happened with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers got banned in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And there were some rather large marketplaces that started banning it. So that basically Fox had a hit show that they could not sell to major television marketplaces because it was outright banned. Yeah. So by the time Spider-Man came along, it was a different climate. It was a climate of, okay, we let Batman get away with this stuff, but we're not going to do that anymore. So, we got the same censorship that X-Men got.
Yeah.
When did you ever see Wolverine use his claws? So, we really got no more censorship than anybody else. There is a responsibility that you have to a young audience to not promote a certain degree of violence and imitatable behavior.
So you may say that Batman, X-Men, and Power Rangers got away with a lot more, but there were reasons why they got away with more. You also have to remember, Wolverine never used those claws on any human skin. So Spider-Man only limited his punches to robots and machines, no people or animals. Now before they started working on the series, the creator requested to see a full run of the Spider-Man comics at the time for research. And the creators had free range and could use any characters from the Marvel Universe. Well, there were some limitations. They excluded the Incredible Hulk just because he had a show on another network. It wasn't a good show. So on top of that, they also included characters outside of Spider-Man. Characters like X-Men, Daredevil, Iron Man, Doctor Doom, the Fantastic Four, and Captain America. The show was fantastic and had a first. Not the first Spider-Man, but the first Spider-Man that dealt with the inner turmoil of Peter Parker. Although X-Men may have beat it to the punch with the dramatic, it's still one of the best Spider-Man series out there. Each character was developed and interesting. Sure, the animation is dated, but the stories were compelling. At least you could say it's not the Fantastic Four and the Iron Man series that came out at the same time. And while it doesn't have the most famous Spider-Man theme song, the 90s version is still iconic. And that is thanks to Joe Perry of Aerosmith fame, who wrote and performed it. Now, Fox may have shortened the lifespan of the series a little bit. And that's because it had 5 seasons during 4 years. And that is because Fox Kids decided to air the 4th season during the summer of 1997. And who knows, even if the series still aired in the fall of 1998, it could have been treated just the same as Toonsylvania, Goosebumps, and Space Goose. Really should have done that Halloween episode. Now, if you're familiar with Frederator's 107 Facts, they did a 107 Facts about Spider-Man. One of those facts is Spider-Man ended because of Marvel's bankruptcy. The producer of the series, John Semper, actually went on Spider-Man's IMDb's message board to correct somebody, saying that Marvel's bankruptcy had nothing to do with any of the shows being ended. Marvel did not own or produce any of these shows. Although there was a reason why the series ended at the 65 episode mark. First, it's 65 episodes. Most shows actually end at that or 52. Their contract was up. And Semper also added into his post, it was a very complicated set of conflicts, egos, and business decisions. It's a bunch of rumors and conjecture wrapped around a few nuggets of truth. I was the producer of Spider-Man the Animated Series. I know exactly how and why my series ended, so I can tell you flat out that you are wrong. And this is about the show being ended because of bankruptcy. There's also a rumor that says, however, Margaret Loesch, who was the president of Fox Kids Network at the time, hated one of the show's executive producers, Evie Arrid, due to the fights they usually have over the show, and she wanted to put Arrid out of business. Fox Kids Network had a better relationship with Saban Entertainment, who wanted to do animation for other series for Fox, including ones from Marvel. The Fox Kids Network decided to go with a new, completely unrelated series, Spider-Man Unlimited. Okay, there's a couple problems with this. First off, I got that from IMDb. IMDb is not a credible source. I looked it up and found absolutely no credible source on this subject. In fact, because I was looking this up, I found some very interesting news articles about what happened with Saban and Fox Kids. One of them is, Saban forced Margaret out of Fox Kids in 1997. Spider-Man ended in 1998, along with a good chunk of shows that was already airing on Fox Kids. A lot of them were extremely popular. And the reasons why a lot of these got canceled? It's because Saban didn't care about ratings. They just wanted a platform to put all their shows on. I actually got that out of a New Yorker article. And we'll get to how Saban treated Fox Kids later. So the fact that the show was canceled because of a petty argument between Margaret in AV is not confirmed. All I really found on the subject are just reviews from other reviewers quoting the IMDb trivia. Now, the reason why the show ended on a cliffhanger is because John Semper wanted some insurance, and that is if they get picked up for another season. Also, he wanted the confrontation between Stan Lee and Spider-Man at the end because of this.
Peter looks at his creator and says, I like myself. You created a guy who didn't like himself, and I've just now saved all of reality, and I've really come to embrace who I am, and I like myself now. The Spider-Man story is done at that point. When Peter Parker turns to his creator and says, I like myself, he's done. His story is done. He's arrived.
For me personally, this is one of my favorite shows. Even when they moved it to Fridays during the 5th season, it's still one of my favorite shows. Now, is it my favorite Spider-Man? No. My favorite is still Spectacular Spider-Man, but I still enjoy it. So I hope you guys like the new format. Wait till the end of the video so you can find out what show I'm reviewing next. I'm TuneAmp. Thank you for tuning in. It's time for me to tune out. Next time on the history of Fox Kids.
You know the best place to go if you're going on a scavenger hunt? The Fox Cub House. But you say, I need lots of silly things, like barbecue jelly beans, or an out-of-this-world alligator, or a talking helicopter. I'm winning. I say, got it. And you say, when pigs fly, well, on the Fox Cub House, they do. If fun tops your list, come to the Fox Cub House weekdays on Fox Kids.
Hopefully I can find some actual video of this stupid show.